We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sponsored Content. I am your host. Today we continue on with Spawn issue number 6. Issue number 6 was released November 1st, 1992. Before we get into that, I would like to take a moment to recap last episode with issue number 5. In issue number 5, we introduced human garbage piece of shit Billy Kincaid. And we saw at the end of the episode what happened to Billy and that he got what was coming to him. So if you missed out on that, make sure you catch up on that story. Since this issue is rather action-packed, we'll probably move along at a pretty good pace, so I want to take a brief moment to update on the technical aspects of the channel. I've switched video editing platforms. Wasn't really happy with the product that I was getting. So I've switched video editing platforms, but everything else remains the same, so there may be some minor adjustments to make, but hopefully editing issues will be alleviated. Again, if you don't care for the technical details, you can skip right over this. Moving forward, we're going to take a look at Spawn issue number 6. Issue number 6 was released on November 1st, 1992, and features a glorious picture of Overkill, the cyborg killing machine made in Italy. In issue number 6, we get our first appearances of Overkill and Tony Twist, who is a New York City Mafia Don. A lot of action in this issue, so we're going to jump right into it without any further delay. Overkill. We kick off issue number 6 in Sicily with a giant boom fucking boom, man, courtesy of the Mafia and Michael Bay. This is what happens when you F around and find out a multinational firm was refusing to cooperate with the local mafia, and of course in the home country that's not going to fly. So this is like a scheduled demolition actually. Everybody's sort of on board with the mafia activity to the extent that people are given forewarning, and this is kind of business as usual. If you've seen any television or movie regarding the mafia in the last 50 years, you know that they are not to be trifled with, and we can see the outcome of the trifling here. On the following page is our introduction to the one-man wrecking crew Overkill, who is a big badass, Mr. Clean cyborg hitman slash do-all for the mafia. He's kind of their get-shit-done guy. He's kind of a hired gun, but he just blew the shit out of this building. So he's popping out like, what's up? And the Italian army's there. They've dealt with Overkill several times before, apparently, and they brought more firepower today, but it's not really doing anything. So Overkill's pretty well armored. Again, looking like Mr. Clean, although his face and neck area is pretty exposed. None of these bullets seem to be doing much. So although the army is familiar with him and they brought more firepower, it's just not doing what they expected today. Overkill tells them that maybe they should try to run. Overkill comes slamming down. Again, not really much happening to him. They're trying their best, shooting and everything. He's kind of just making a huge ass mess. Again, he just blew up this huge ass building, and now fighting continues in the streets, and he's not even mad yet. He says, "You better leave before I really get pissed." And so, of course, the army thinks, well, I'll bring out the big cannon then, because they kept this cannon aside for whatever reason. Now it's time to use it. They're pretty much cool with leveling the whole city, as long as they can kill Overkill, but he jumps on this cannon, smashes it to smithereens, doesn't stand a chance. He's pretty much in charge here. So it's Overkill versus the entire Italian army, with Overkill coming out on top. Here we have kind of a creepy, scary junkie. He's chilling in the alleyway. He's been hitting the slopes. He's looking to score again. Got a couple of the Mafia's sort of street thugs down here, and they're looking to get some information because, again, a few issues back, we've been having a lot of mafiosos get their hearts ripped out, and so a lot of fingers have been pointing their way towards Spawn. So there's some mafioso thugs down here investigating. They offer a deal to this junkie. He gives up some information. He says, the person you're looking for, aka Spawn, he's been chilling, with the old geezers back at 42nd and 6th. And then at the bottom of this page, they deal with the loose end here. This dude gets his brains blown all over the alley. Here we meet New York Mafia Don Tony Twist. Tony is a pretty ruthless fella. He sent his goons out here to get information on Spawn's whereabouts, and they seem to have narrowed down a location that he could possibly be in. At this point, we're still looking at Spawn as the culprit behind all the heart ripping, because no one's really aware of the violator's presence aside from Spawn. So Tony wants Spawn's heart brought to him. Tony's sending the goons out. He says, look, I want this done quickly, efficiently, quietly, and I want his heart. Capiche? Now, Spawn's been hanging out in the alleyway. He's kind of making himself familiar, chilling with the bums. Like, they're not even upset that he's there. They're not really bothered by his appearance. They're kind of reaching out to him, and they're like, look, dude, it's not that bad down here. You know, if you want to gather around the fire, we're more than happy to share our fire with you. And, you know, we just want you to kind of join us and not be kind of a wallflower and kind of a weirdo. Like, you're already in a cape. You already have these green eyes and shit. So if you could just, you know, join our drum circle, things would probably be a little less uncomfortable around here. So Spawn's taken aback by this, and he's like, you know what, they're right. Even though they don't have anything, they have each other, and like, I kind of want to be a part of that because I don't have anything, obviously. He says, you know, let me tell you a story. And in our next page, we get sort of a rehash of his situation where he's come back several years later. He's found his wife. He's found, you know, that she's remarried with Cyan, that she's married to his best friend. We know the story. So Spawn's kind of rehashing his story to the bums as they're all kind of gathered around the dumpster fire, having a good sort of kumbaya moment. Tony Twist's thugs are down in the alleyways. Their plan to lure Spawn out is essentially to murder a bunch of bums, thinking that if this is his home, he has some sort of connection there. Like, eventually, you know, that will bring him out. In which case it does. And we see that Spawn shows up here on the second page looking pretty menacing. And he's like, look, dickhead, your other buddy, he's dead. So, and if you're keeping count at home, Billy Kincaid was the first confirmed kill that Spawn had. So now we're up to 2 with this mafioso thug getting his, and Spawn's threatening this guy, and he's like, look, I don't want you down here in my alley. I want to know who's after me. I want to know why they're after me. You know, you go back to your boss and you let him know where he can find me. And we see the newspaper at the bottom that this alley is found littered with bodies, presumably the dead homeless people, and then 2 known felons were also among the corpses. So we can probably safely assume that Spawn's body count is now up to 3. All the Mafia Dons gather together for a secret, like, Bilderberg type meeting, and they all decide that they're gonna whack the person who they think is responsible for killing all of their other Dons, and more recently the thugs that they sent to the street to deal with Spawn. So they call in Overt Kill. They call in Sicily. They say, look, can you send your big ass wrecking crew to the United States because we got a problem over here? And they're like, sure, because we're starting to look kind of foolish. So Overt Kill shows up, smashes his big ass through the wall. Now that Overt Kill is stateside, he's going to head out and hunt for Spawn. The way he does this is essentially the same way that the street thugs were doing this, where Overt Kill is out and he's just bashing on the homeless. And this pisses Spawn off because he's kind of starting to embrace his newer role as a protector of sorts, you know, a protector maybe of Wanda and to some degree his home, which is the alleyway. So he's sick of people preying on the weak. That's happening a lot in the last couple days. People are looking for him. They're down here, you know, messing things up. So he comes flying down. He says, look, my cape's pretty badass and cool. I'm going to try to use it to my advantage. He asks Overt Kill, what's up? They sort of start to square off a bit. Spawn's kind of taunting him, and he's like, you know, maybe you should try to fight somebody who's actually not like a homeless bum or a bag lady or somebody who's asleep. You know, maybe fight somebody who's your own size. Spawn continues to battle Overt Kill. Spawn's chains sort of reach out and wrap around Overt Kill's neck. Instinctively, Spawn's not really intending to do this, but it's just sort of something that's happening as he's trying to figure out how his costume works and operates. But he's sort of tussling here with Overt Kill, and he's jockeying for position, and he moves out of the way, and Overt Kill smashes his arm into a gear, and he gets caught. With Overtkill's arm caught in the gears, his hand gets ripped off, and now he's probably a little bit more pissed than he was before, honestly, but Spawn, he still doesn't have time for this. Spawn recalls having, encounters with cyborgs in the past, and that, he's fought them before, but Overtkill's a little bit more advanced because he's mafia funded, and a lot of that funding is off the books. So who knows how much money went into the Mr. Clean, Mr. T. He's obviously got like gold, that monocle, the eyepiece is sort of gold, and his gold chain. So he's bling bling for the most part. Overkill thinks that Spawn is a young blood, and that was sort of the premise that he was brought here for. He was supposed to take care of this young blood in the States, and he was all excited to do that because he's fought young bloods before and not come out on top. So Spawn, he's kind of confused. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't think he's a young blood. Overkill's choking him out, and right now it's not looking so great for Spawn, honestly. So Spawn refuses to fight Overkill because Spawn knows that his power is his lifeblood, and he's kind of gauging the extent of damage he can do on his own based on the fact that he is almost a superhuman Al Simmons. So he's refraining from using his power because he knows that ultimately using his power will diminish his time on Earth. So Overkill essentially knocks him unconscious, and during their fight, Overkill's life sensors may have been damaged. So Overkill thinks that Spawn is dead, and he thinks this was an easy kill. He's a little irritated, honestly, because he just made this giant ass, trip. He's jet lagged. He had to fight Spawn. He thinks Spawn is like super capable, and he's gonna like rip hearts out and do all this crazy shit, and Spawn doesn't fight him at all. So Spawn kind of comes to, and he realizes how lucky he is because Overkill thought he was dead and essentially just left him and walked away like an idiot. So Spawn has a broken arm. He needs to use some of his power to mend the broken arm, so he does that, and then he recalls his life as a mercenary and some of the secrets that he had kept. So he heads off, again, not wanting to use his power. So he goes to a storage unit where he has kept some of his tools of the trade, so to speak, and he uncovers those. And on our next page here, we get our first shot of Call of Duty supply drop Spawn. Spawn says he's tired of being pushed around. He doesn't want anybody to force him to use his power. He doesn't even really want to use his power on his own unless he absolutely has to. And so he says, I'm going to load up. I'm getting this supply crate. I'm going to get this big crazy gun, this smaller little gun here, maybe a gun on my back, a bandolier, and I'm going to go fuck Overkill up. And that's where we end. And in our next issue, issue number 7, we will continue with Spawn Hunts Overkill Part 2. This has been Sponsored Content, episode number 6, Spawn issue number 6. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again.